Another new head coach in the league is Fran Alonso. He is with the Houston Dash. This is a side that missed out on the playoffs last year. They are hoping to get back there. They finished 10th in the league. They only had 6 wins, but only 16 goals for throughout the year. They did have the stingiest defense in the league, only 18 goals against. They had Jane Campbell in goal. She was goalkeeper of the year last year. She earned a call up to the national team with Houston. And her play at Houston allowed her to call up to the national team. However, they couldn't score. Only 16 goals for. They didn't have a lot of attack. Where, Sandra, is Houston going to find their attack this year?
I don't know. I'm just being real with you. I really don't know. I think this was a squad that had potentially at the very least, a front three, possibly a front six that folks were really excited about. And for some reason, the combination of Sam Lady tactics or the very brief era that he was there with the personnel on the pitch, it just didn't mix. It just wasn't working out for some reason. I will say, despite having maybe some similar energy going into this season, I think, look, there's another new head coach. There's still some really good attacking pieces here that I'm still excited about. I think I have some of that energy from last year around this Houston Dash side because we never actually got to really see it come to fruition. So I think people still have that kind of cautious optimism, that wait and see level of excitement for this team, because this team still has Maria Sanchez, a franchise player, frankly, at this point, with the new contract that she has with the Dash. They still have Diana Ordonez, that I'm sure that they're hoping can capitalize on that rookie season that she had now 2 years ago. Michelle Alozie, like looking at this player and knowing that this is a player that can produce highlight type of moments for a team. Now, how does it all come together to happen on a more consistent basis? I think that is going to be the big question that new head coach Fran Alonso has to answer. How do you utilize the talent that you have in place right now and put them in the best positions to succeed? I guess we're going to find out real quick. I'm looking at the Houston Dash side. It's a long season, but I think coming off of the season that they just had in 2023, if you're not starting to see that identity, feel it out, or recognize what it is, I think in that opening 6 to 8 weeks, you have to ask yourself those same questions that we were asking of this team last year.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Sandra. There's still a lot of question marks around Houston. It's always been a team where you're never sure what you're gonna get, though. Maybe besides the first Challenge Cup in Utah, that was hell.
But
Never wanna
also,
do
you
that
didn't
again.
know what was happening. No one knew what you were going to get from any of the teams.
Just knew I was getting tested, like the friggin' thing shoved up my nose 3 times a day, and then we'd go on this like horrible field and play soccer, and Houston was dominating, and it was like, what? I don't know what's happening.
It was just
I'm
like
out.
who thrived in the chaos the most.
Yeah. But yeah, Houston, it's such a bummer because I love playing at that stadium. I think they have a good setup, but I don't think the team I don't think they've ever been set up to succeed. Sadly, I don't know if the players that are there have ever actually been put in a system that makes sense for them and their qualities.
Yeah.
And
so many different head coaches.
They
It's been a
had
lot.
5 new coaches in the last 2 years. James Clarkson left April 22. Sarah Loudon came in as the interim. Juan Carlos Amoros came in for a spell. Sam Lady from December 22 to September 23. Sarah Loudon again, and now we have Fran Alonso.
Yeah, how do you build a culture? How do you build an identity? How do you get trust of players? It's a shame because this could be such a great destination to want to go play at. It's a great stadium. They have a good setup. You're in Houston. There's just no consistency there to feel confident as a player to go there. I don't know. But I like the acquisitions they had in the offseason. CeCe Kaiser, I think, is a really good player going back to Houston. I think she can play in a variety of positions. She can lead the team. She's a very consistent player, in my opinion. She's a goal scorer. Yuki Nagasato, I think, is so technical and fun to watch on the ball. I think she can connect the line. She can take set pieces. She's a good goal scorer. Ellen Rubinson, I think, is a really good addition, but again, it's tough. They always rely on certain pieces. Maria Sanchez, they relied on her a lot last year. Nichelle Prince, who was injured for a lot of it, but isn't even with the team anymore. Shea Groom, who was also injured, is not with the team anymore. There's just that we don't know what's going to happen. I hope that they get some consistency and are able to build an identity and let these players thrive, because we haven't been able to see it yet, but we know that they can. They just need the space to do it.
The defensive shape, I'm curious about. We have to give a shout, I think, to Jane Campbell in this one. I mean, had an incredible season with Houston, but it's also like, I think you take a look at that and say, how and or why did Jane Campbell have such an iconic season for Houston Dash in the type of year that they had in 2023? Do you maybe want to put your keeper through that again, needing to have such elevated performances, throughout the season? And yes, all keepers are going to have their best performance and make sure that they're staying on when it comes to performing at this level. But at the same time, I think you want to see that turn. You want to go ahead and switch that and say, this is the season again for us to see that promising attack that we've been wanting to see from Houston since they started acquiring these pieces. You know what you've got in Jane Campbell and what you can get there defensively. But when is that turn going to happen? When is that switch going to turn on for the attack and for the and for the offense? This I think was a team at one point we thought was going to have some of the most goals in the league. So, is Fran Alonso going to be that coach to get it done? I think there's a lot of there's parallels here, I think, for Houston, and I think Washington Spirit as well.
Yeah, I agree. So do you think that they are having the same issue? You think it's one and the same for both of these teams, that it's just going to be question marks on how they're going to come out for the next
maybe there's
6 weeks?
Maybe there's a little bit of like, you got to see what it's going to give you in those first 6 to 8 weeks. And then if there's that second half push, or if there is one to be had, like, who's it going to be? We're going to see it from the Dash, or we're going to see it from the Spirit?
You can watch Houston Dash, their first match against North Carolina Courage, Sunday. That is March 16th at 7 o'clock Eastern Time.